Almost every sales rep makes the same mistake. They try to sell every buyer the exact same way. You need to know there are really only 4 types of buyers you'll ever come across. Reds, people that are driven by power and results. Greens, who just want peace and stability. Blues, who function well with logic and structure. And yellows, who are driven by fun and connection. But here's the problem. If you're a red, sure, you'll crush it with other reds, but you'll bleed sales with yellows, greens, and blues. Once I personally came to this realization and learn how to speak to the other 3 kinds of people, my close rate immediately spiked. So in this video, you're gonna learn 3 things. Number 1, how to figure out your own sales color so you can see your strengths and blind spots. Number 2, the exact mistakes each color makes when selling. And number 3, most importantly, how to sell to any buyer once you know their color. If you never learn this, you'll always wonder why a quarter of your calls feel effortless while the others are just hell. But if you understand this concept, you'll be able to walk into any sales call, instantly read your prospect, and know exactly how to speak to them so that closing feels almost effortless. But before you even think about how to sell to the other colors, you need to understand what color you are. Because if you don't know your own color, you'll unconsciously force your buyers to communicate the way you do. And that's where the deal dies. I learned this color system from Thomas Erickson, who wrote the book Surrounded by Idiots. It's an amazing read. If you give it the time, it'll change how you sell. The book suggests that everyone has a mix of all 4 colors inside us, but typically there's one dominant color that drives how you communicate, how you sell, and even how you like to buy. So here's a quick rundown of the 4 colors. Reds are all about results. They're decisive, competitive, and love moving fast. Yellows are the big energy people, fun, creative, and enthusiastic. They light up a room and love sharing ideas. Greens are calm, supportive, and steady. They're the glue that holds everything together, and they value stability. And blues, these are your detail people. They're precise, cautious, and structured. They need the data. So the question is, how do you figure out your dominant color? I'm gonna give you 3 quick self-diagnosis questions. Think about them honestly. So number 1 is, are you more introverted or extroverted? Reds and yellows usually lean extrovert. Blues and greens tend to lean introvert. Number 2, are you more logical or emotional in how you make decisions? Reds and blues lean logical. Yellows and greens lean emotional. If the same color matched twice in your answers, you might already know which one you are. But to make double sure, answer this last question, which is number 3, are you more of a deliberate talker or a quick talker? Blues and greens are typically more measured and deliberate. Red and yellows are usually fast talkers, quick to jump in. So based on your answers, one color should have stood out more than the rest. Feel free to drop a comment below letting me know which color you guys are. I'm personally a yellow. This awareness is critical because it's the lens that you naturally sell through. So if you're a red, you talk fast, you drive hard, and you go for the close. If you're a yellow, you tell stories and hype people up. If you're a green, you reassure and you collaborate. And if you're a blue, you build logical cases with data and structure. The problem is each color hears that pitch completely differently. The exact same sales approach can either close the deal or make the buyer want to run for the hills. So let's take a look at a few common scenarios. They're a bit dramatized, but they capture the spirit of what happens in a real sales conversation. If you're a green selling to a red buyer, it might sound something like, hey, there's Marcus. Oh yeah, hey Marcus, it's, hey, I know I'm catching you on the blue, so if it's a bad time, I totally understand. Just want to make sure, just want to take maybe a minute, quickly introduce myself. Yeah, sure, man. Spit it out. What do you want? Oh, yeah, of course. So my name's Lily. I'm with FlowOps, and we help teams optimize their pipeline. And hold on. Do you even know why you're calling me? Yeah, well, sort of. I mean, I saw that you might be a good fit, but no pressure if it's not relevant. I totally get it. Yeah, dude, it's not relevant. Bye. So green sellers often open soft, apologetic, overly accommodating. Reds hear that and immediately step into a power position. So when the green fumbles under pressure, which they often do because they avoid conflict, then red takes control, decides the call is not worth their time, and ends it fast. So to a red, hesitation equals low status, and low status isn't worth engaging. Now, if you're a blue selling to a red, it might sound something like, yeah, this is Tom. Oh, yeah, hey Tom, this is Alex calling from RevMetric. I know I'm calling on the blue, but notice your team was running a pretty aggressive outbound motion. We actually analyzed data from over 312 companies last quarter and found that, teams who tightened their stage 2 and 3 conversion improved their pipeline velocity by 27.4% on average. And if you look at the last report, yeah, hey, great. Don't need to know all the numbers. What's the bottom line, man? What do you guys actually do? Yeah, totally. So to give you the full picture, the reason the numbers matter is because macroeconomically right now, we're seeing a massive shift in buying cycles. And if you look at the Q2 Gartner report, dude, you're doing it again. Just tell me what the hell you guys are selling. Yeah, so if you look how the data lines up, dude, I'm done. I'm out. Blues think the numbers will sell the product. They want to build a logical case, brick by brick. Reds just want the headline. They want the value prop, the bottom line. The second the blue loops back into stats and trends, the red feels like their time's being wasted and they bail. If you're a red selling to a yellow buyer. Hey, this is Jason. Yeah, hey Jason, I'll keep this super quick. Reason I'm calling is we help marketing teams tighten up their lead gen and boost ROI by 15% in the last 90 days. Just curious, have you looked at anything like this recently? Oh my gosh, yeah. We were actually just talking about this in our team meeting last week. And funny enough, I was actually at a trade show in Austin a couple weeks ago, and I saw a booth doing something really similar. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, awesome. Sounds like it's already top of mind for you. So why don't we lock in 15 minutes tomorrow so I can show you exactly how we do this, would do this for your team. Yeah, but hold on. I wasn't finished with my story, and I'll tell you why it's relevant in a second here. So anyways, the booth guy gives me this wild pitch about how they integrate with HubSpot and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, hey, totally. Listen, I can walk you through exactly how we do it differently, but we need more than just a quick call to do it justice. So does tomorrow or Friday work better for a proper demo? Hey man, it kind of feels like you're steamrolling me here. If you're this pushy on a call, I can only imagine what the sales process is like. So you know what, how about, I'll just think about it for now. Reds think they're being efficient. They hear a relevant tangent and want to convert it into a next step. Yellows just want to feel heard. So when the red cuts in twice, it came off as rude and overtly aggressive. This is a classic red-yellow collision. One is usually chasing control. The other is chasing a connection. If you're a yellow selling to a blue, it might sound something like, yeah, hey, this is David. Yeah, hey, David. This is Jake over at LaunchFlow. Hey, love what you guys are doing over in the enterprise automation space. I'm not sure if you guys seen, but we recently just partnered with Salesforce and a couple other big players. And honestly, we're making some pretty big moves in the market right now. Hey, appreciate it. Sounds good, but not to get too specific, but what is your open API access looking like? Obviously we have to make sure that integration's like feasible for us. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, we definitely work with all the big CRMs. Okay, fine. And then what's pricing structure? What does that look like? Yeah. Pricing depends on a few things. It's super competitive. So, we can figure out that later when we maybe talk a little more. Well, look, we can't work with you if you're not SOC 2 compliant. Are you guys SOC 2 compliant? Yeah, I think so. I'd have to double check with our tech team on that one, but I don't think it should be a problem. Okay, how about this, man? Why don't you send me some info and I'll take a look at it when I have time. Yellow sellers lead with big energy. They paint the vision, drop logos, talk about market moves. Blue buyers don't really care about the hype. They just want clarity, proof, and structure. When the blue starts asking technical questions, the yellow got shaky, brushed things off, and never drove to a clear next step. So the result, the blue stalls, not because they weren't interested, but because the seller didn't inspire confidence in the details. That's why selling in your own color works great with buyers just like you, but backfires with everyone else. You've probably been in at least one of those frustrating exchanges before, and the reason is simple. We all default to our own mode of communication, and it works great when you're selling to people just like you, but with everyone else, they get frustrated, confused, or tune out completely. So here's how the other colors perceive you as a salesperson. If you're a red seller, to yellows, you can come off as intense or steamrolling. To greens, you feel intimidating or confrontational. And to blues, you can seem reckless, like you didn't do your homework. What you see as being a closer, they might experience as you bulldozing them. If you're a yellow seller, reds think you're a waste of time. Greens may like you, but your energy can be overwhelming. And blues see you as unfocused and unprepared. So they'll tune out the hype and start mentally drafting their due diligence questions. You make people feel good, but you can lose credibility fast if you don't anchor emotions with detail and structure. If you're a green seller, to reds, you seem hesitant and low status. To yellows, you might feel boring or too slow. And to blues, you can come off as lacking precision and certainty. What you see as being respectful and collaborative, others might interpret as timid or unclear. And then if you're a blue seller, reds get impatient fast, yellows think you're boring or overly technical, and greens can get overwhelmed by the volume of information and just shut down completely. What you see as a logical, bulletproof argument, others might experience as death by data. This is why you might walk out of a call thinking you nailed it and did everything you could, but the prospect felt the complete opposite. It's not that they didn't like you just weren't speaking their language. And so on the flip side, every new sales rep has this moment, they get off a call and go,
man, dude, that prospect sucked. They were so annoying. They're indecisive, so skeptical.
And on and on and on. The truth is, they didn't suck. You were just speaking a different language. And because you didn't adapt, it felt like friction. Once you start seeing buyers this way, you stop judging and start adjusting to different people. And in turn, you're going to close more deals. So here's the lesson again. When you only speak your own color, you only connect with people who are truly like you. But not everyone is you. Not everyone is the same color as you. Now, I'm not saying change the essence of who you are. I'm telling you, if you want to connect better with your prospects and customers, you need to learn how to adjust your delivery and speak in their communication style so you can connect better with them. Imagine this. You call your dream customer, you identify their color right away, and you're able to get a deal much easier and smoother because they trust you and you truly connected with them. How many more deals would you close? When you first connect with someone and you want to identify what color they are, you can ask yourself the same 3 questions from earlier. It's a quick way to try and figure out their color. It's such a powerful little tool that I keep it in the corner of my computer screen and I reference it when I'm connecting with folks for the first time. I will say there are also other patterns like the specific questions they ask, the statements they make, and how they speak. All of these can cue you into their color. So next, I'm going to share exactly what to look for and how to sell to them in a way that they want to buy. Once you can read someone's color, the next step is to adjust your communication to match their world. Not manipulate, match. Speak their language, not yours. Each color has a few key conversation hooks that, when used correctly, can instantly align you and earn trust. Red buyers value decisiveness, confidence, and more than anything, time and speed. If you're talking to a red, your number one job is to give the impression you're always moving towards the point or the next step. Everything in your delivery should feel clean, intentional, and tight. You need to project executive presence and professionalism, like you're someone worth taking seriously. So 2 tactical levers here. Number 1, weave in straight cut statements into your conversations. So these are short, punchy phrases that prop up the key point you're about to make and snap a red's attention back to you. An example could be, so the headline is, our big idea in a nutshell, Mr. Prospect. So quick 10-second thumbnail. So to land the plane here and to cut to it, but anyways, don't want to overstay my welcome here. And so these act like conversation anchors. They keep the train moving and signal clarity. Number 2, you want to set time boundaries early and often. Reds respect people who respect their time. You can do this up front or, mid conversation. So for example, and John, I know we had 30 minutes blocked out here. What's your hard stop just in case we get carried away? Or, hey, Susie, I know we're coming up against the clock here, so don't want to hold you hostage for too much longer, and then wrap up the call. This preserves your status while showing that you understand how they operate. Yellow buyers value active listening and stories. They're visionaries and big picture thinkers. Your job with yellows is to paint the vision, make them feel the idea, and let them imagine themselves in it. When you pitch a yellow, frame your message like a story. Anchor around 3 elements: the change in the world, the problem space, unique value proposition. And this narrative structure pulls them in and activates their imagination. So here's an example pitch that we've done in the SEO consulting space. And this is courtesy of Corey Frank and the Branch 49 team here. So, okay, Susie, let me give you the high level big idea and see if this is even in the neighborhood of your world. So today, specifically in search, in setting out all the honeypot and adjusting the levers for acquisition of leads for your business, you have to be at the top of the page. There's just no other way. And a lot of experts and web conferences will tell you to focus on what's, maybe broken versus focusing on main thing that prevents the top rank, the competition. It's a different mindset than most folks will tell you. Traditional SEO consulting firms usually rely on a few outdated tactics and duct tape quick fixes that can do more harm than good. It's no longer enough just to stuff keywords into your website or build a bunch of low quality backlinks. We see all the time how teams stumble into using some of these black hat SEO schemes that can get your website penalized or even banned banned from search engine result pages. Yellows are going to eat up pitches like that. Also, yellows love to talk and share ideas. So show them that you truly understand what they're saying. Use intermittent verbal affirmations like, yeah, I'm right with you, while they're telling their story or making their case to show that you're present. Also, be sure to use mirroring and labeling, Chris Voss style. Check out Never Split the Difference, especially after they go on a long tangent. So again, don't bulldoze them. You want to reflect what they said back, then gently steer the conversation forward. That way they feel heard without losing direction. If you absolutely need to cut a yellow off, do it with empathy and awareness. So that can sound something like, so Susie, if I'm hearing you right, and sorry to cut in here, just want to make sure I understand, and then reiterate what their pain point was in your own words. And if they say yes, you want to get them to affirm or clarify. After that, once they feel heard, then they'll open up the door for you to move the conversation forward. So let's talk about greens. Greens value collaboration and stability. They're your peacekeepers. They hate feeling rushed, cornered, or like their world's about to get disrupted. So with greens, you want to match their tempo. You want to speak low and slow. If you come in hot like a red, they'll spook. This is where pullbacks and downsells become essential. Instead of forcing a close, show that you are also resistant to disruption. Make it clear that you're not here to shake things up. You want to come in from the angle that you make things smoother and more stable. So once they feel safe, they lean in. An example of a pullback can sound something like, now obviously, John, I know you and the team probably have this process pretty locked down, so definitely don't want to disrupt what's already working. And then your downsell examples can sound something like, but just want to see if you'd be completely against a quick 15-minute coffee break style chat, just to take a peek at some of the lesser known AI advancements in accounting. And then from there, you can keep us in the back pocket for down the road. Or another one could sound like, it sounds like it might make sense to take a light stab on us. We do these short 30-day proof of concepts for folks who just want to dip their toes in. And then if and only if it's a raving success, then we can chat, what a longer term partnership could look like. So the key is to lower the stakes and gently guide them into the next logical step. Blue buyers value data and logic. They want to be understood, and they want to know that you understand before they decide. They can smell a bluff from a mile away. It's not just about having the knowledge, it's about showing confidence and understanding of the details. The key tactics here are to lead with high-level stats in a clear structure, only go deep if they ask, and the critical moment is really when they ask specific questions. If you fumble, your credibility drops to zero. If you answer cleanly, they lean in. Keep the data, stats, and technical details at your fingertips. And really, this is where your flash roll technique comes in. So what is a flash roll? A flash roll is a short, rapid-fire, highly competent technical explanation delivered confidently, not to teach the prospect, but to demonstrate that you deeply understand your domain, almost better than they do. It's like saying, I know this world inside and out, deeper than you could realistically keep up with right now. So let's skip to the part where you trust that I'm an expert. Why this works psychologically is blues will often test your expertise early on. If you respond with vague surface level explanations, they'll keep pushing you. But when you deliver a flash roll, you trigger the expert frame in their mind of, okay, this person clearly knows more than me. I can relax and let them lead the conversation. It's the fastest way to collapse skepticism and establish credibility without saying, trust me. The formula, this comes from Oren Klaff's book, Flip the Script, is number one, you're going to describe the problem. Number two, you're going to give your assessment of it. Number three, you're going to lay out your proposed solution. Number four, explain the economics. And then number five, end with a sort of no big deal statement. For example, that could be, that's what I would do, or that's the quick version. So a couple tips here. Again, you don't want to over-explain or teach. That's not what this is for. You don't want to let it drag on for more than 90 seconds. Really, it should be between 60 and 90 seconds. And it has to feel fluent, like it lives in your brain, and you've said this 1,000 times. You also want to make sure you pivot back to the conversation right afterwards so you're not kind of left hanging there. Here's an example of a cybersecurity flash roll that I would use. And this is if, the prospect says, well, okay, how does this work in my environment? We have XYZ going on. So it sounds something like, great question, John. It sounds really similar to the Rolls-Royce implementation we did 6 months ago. So under the hood, when we rolled this out, the first thing we did was drop a reverse proxy in front of their infra. That became the choke point where all the ingress got funneled through our threat intel engine, which is constantly fed from a mix of commercial, open source, and private TTP feeds. From there, traffic flows into our behavior-based anomaly detection stack that's tied straight into a centralized SIEM, where we're running pre-trained ML models against live packets. So we don't really do SIG-based stuff, so 0 days, polymorphic payloads, and weird C2 traffic light up in real time. And then anything that looks sus got quarantined and detonated in a sandbox before it even touched their app layer. The whole pipeline runs in line with sub-millisecond latency, so there's no lag on the edge. But anyways, that's a quick version of how we helped Rolls-Royce. The point is, for them, it wasn't some, plug and pray bolt-on. It's a self-learning, fully instrumented perimeter that hardens over time and scales with their environment. To the average Joe, like you and me, that probably meant nothing and you probably fell asleep, but to blues, and there's a lot of blues in IT and cybersecurity, it's music to their ears. What's great about all these practical tactics is that they really work across all colors, but some colors appreciate each one more than others. It's part of their language and their communication style. As you learn how to do this, you'll be able to communicate with 95% of prospects. And again, it's not about changing who you are. It's about learning how to adapt your communication style to their communication style. Masterful sales folks meet people where they're at and make moving forward effortless for the prospect. Of course, we all have a little bit of each color in us, but we tend to default to one. That doesn't mean we can't learn the others. And in fact, you should learn them all and close more deals. And if you want to see how I applied all of this in real time, click here to watch the next video where I do real cold calling live and book actual sales meetings so you can see exactly how I use these frameworks on the fly. We'll see you over there.